Let's go straight to Kanni Wignaraja, who's the UN Assistant Secretary General and Regional Director for Asia and the Pacific at the UN Development Programme. Kanni, thank you very much indeed for being with us. You've spoken to us many times about that part of the world, about Myanmar on World Business Report. What's your first thought as you join us today?
This is devastating, Andrew. This is a part of the country, right in the center. Sagaing region was the epicenter, and that's very close to Mandalay. But if you just think of Sagaing, this is an area that has seen some of the most intense fighting as the civil war continues. In fact, the aerial bombing has been severe there, even just last month. So it's in the country, it probably has the greatest density of internally displaced people. So you're talking about, 1.3 million people already in a very, very tough situation, living on a shoestring. And now these two earthquakes that have just knocked whatever little stuffing there was out of both Mandalay region and Sagaing region.
Right. So we'll hear a bit more about the infrastructure that there is there, perhaps in a second, because it'll be key to getting any aid to that part of Myanmar. Have you got any information out of Myanmar today yourselves?
Very little. I mean, obviously, there is some satellite data coming in, but very hard to access the area. Our own UN premises have been damaged even in Naypyidaw. But we do know that the two main airports cannot be used; they're severely damaged. And just think that Mandalay was the economic and transport hub, right? It was the central kind of where everything came in and then moved across the country and across borders, and that has remained the commercial and economic and financial center of Myanmar even during this tough period. So if you look at the population of about 5+ million in Sagaing, another 6 million around the Mandalay region, this is significant. And in a part of the country that has seen a tripling of poverty, the poverty headcount has just tripled since about 2018 to just last year. It's going to be very difficult both to access the area, and I really hope as the UN and others can support getting in there, and that the authorities provide that access to us. I know all our teams on the ground are looking at this. This is the critical thing, is now to get there and see if basic electricity, water, food can be provided very urgently to people, large numbers of people impacted.
It's unusual for Myanmar's rulers to ask for any help from the international community. So I suppose that's the first success, is that the people running Myanmar right now are recognising the need for that, and presumably then will do all they can to facilitate it.
You're absolutely right, and I think this may be, if one can see a little bit of light through this dark moment. That is exactly it, that it allows access, it allows the UN and other partners to get in there and help. We are present on the ground. So it does mean looking at what is very immediately needed from a disaster relief point of view, but very quickly trying to put back some of the essential services and very basic infrastructure, which already in Mandalay, the infrastructure had remained relatively stable. But in Sagaing, this was already, given the airstrikes and the intensity of war there, this had already been severely impacted. So that to me is also, it's not enough to get access to Mandalay and Naypyidaw. We really do need access to the Sagaing region, and particularly to all the displaced communities there.
I'm really hearing your concern about the more rural areas where, of course, the poorest people will live. What happens now? You know, we know the earthquake has happened. Information is very limited. Aid would be welcome. What happens now to try and coordinate, working out what's needed and getting it there?
Well, we've got our UN teams both in Yangon and then in Naypyidaw. But as I said, the Naypyidaw group are affected. We've got a number of bilateral partners who have remained and work out of Yangon. They are in touch immediately with the SAC, the de facto authorities, looking to see how to get in there. Of course, this has to be done safely. We have to keep in mind that there are aftershocks. And then I'm sure there will be, including with the regional, the border countries, there will be an effort to coordinate some of the assistance that might have to get through if the airports are not functioning, then to see across borders and through inland how to get some of this urgently across to those who need it most. But right now, the open access to the authorities in Naypyidaw are critical to allow them to give us as a international support community as much access as possible.
Kanni, thank you very much indeed for that. Kanni Wignaraja is the UN Assistant Secretary General live on World Business Report.